Okay, everybody, we have some pretty big news to talk about. No one else seems to have got this information, but as always, we are dialed in so that your XRP bags are growing, and this is a big deal. We're going to talk about exactly what the latest filing from the SEC and Ripple is and why this is going to be so important for your bags long term, as well as taking a look at some key signals that might just be telling us that XRP is about to go crazy. As always, do me a favor, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with all the latest content when it comes to XRP and the broader cryptocurrency market. We are dialed in right now and making sure that you are as well. So with that being said, let's get into this pretty crazy news right now. Okay, before you panic, this is nothing to do with the SEC and the Ripple court case. In fact, this is even bigger than that, but you have to read between the lines to truly understand it. So this is an order under rule from the Securities Act of 1933, basically granting a waiver of the Rule 506. Okay, if you're not a legal expert, as I'm not, by the way, this probably makes completely no sense whatsoever. So let's talk about what it is. Back in December 22nd, 2020, the SEC gave a not so great Christmas present to Ripple Labs and everyone invested in XRP by basically alleging in relevant part that Ripple violated Section 5 of the Securities Act. Basically, the whole programmatic sales and obviously those sales to investors. August 7th, 2024, the district court entered a final judgment basically saying, no, they didn't. 4 years later. Now, 2025 in May, the parties executed a settlement agreement. Obviously, we know about that. And then more recently, only a few days ago, obviously Ripple and the SEC agreed that we would go our separate ways, and it's all under the bridge. Now, this is where it gets pretty interesting. So this filing from the SEC is basically to say that all of that stuff they brought in, all of the arguments that the SEC had is kind of nonsense, and it would now waiver the application from disqualification provisions of Rule 506 of the Securities Act resulting from the final judgment's injunction against Ripple, and it's hereby granted to Ripple, basically saying that any regulation, any bans, any kind of disqualifications have therefore been removed. This is big news, and the reason why it's a big news theory is it now means that if Ripple want to go ahead and file for an IPO, there is nothing standing in their way. Any restrictions, disqualifications, or anything that could have been brought up to say no simply are not there. It's like a brand new company looking to launch an IPO, and that's why we've just seen the pre-IPO valuation now hit a potential $20 billion. Now, before you all put in the comments, 2-bit, nothing's been announced about an IPO, I know. People are still going to value it. Remember, we talked about this previously on the channel, that there are companies that value companies irrespective of whether they're public or not. Ripple sits at a $20 billion valuation, and that has just doubled with this announcement. Analysts now predict that Ripple IPO could boost XRP legitimacy, despite no formal legal tie between the stock and token, obviously. And with legal clarity, as well as that recent document we just talked about, the reality is that we could soon see a Ripple IPO. In fact, my prediction is I actually think we'll see a Ripple IPO by the end of the year. When you kind of break it down, and you've got Ripple going for banking licenses, as well as making sure that XRP, RLUSD, and acquisitions of further stablecoin issuers, all while at the same time having places like Memecoins, Hidden Road, and many others, it is difficult to believe that this is it. It's difficult to believe that Ripple aren't going to do more, and therefore it's difficult to really understand why XRP won't be a gigantic price in the future to come. Yes, we've got to get there, and yes, it's got to get through. But the fact of the matter is that we've got companies valuing Ripple at $20 billion, and I actually think this could be cheap. I actually think it could be way more than that once you start to see adoption of RLUSD and much more. So this is a huge piece of legislational news that you need to share. People need to understand it. If you're an investor in XRP, this literally is as crazy as we get with the SEC removing that court dates. Now, there are some key things to remember as well that's going on. And when you kind of peel the onion skin back with XRP, and we talk about on the channel, not necessarily looking at the price or what's right in front of you. Try and understand what's behind. Well, there's some key things going on when it comes to XRP as well. On-chain spikes from last week continuing creating forward momentum. We actually see previous on-chain surges of network consistently. They normally lead into big price movements. So people kind of see what's going on. They get excited. They start to acquire XRP and boom, the market absolutely skyrockets. We've seen that 3 times now happen over the course of the last 18 months. And it looks like we are now starting to do it again with a surge of around 2.1 billion transactions, $1.1 billion in volume. This is now looking like we could see another further breakout. And there's a couple of reasons why that might be. Well, one of those reasons could absolutely be this determination around how XRP is valued. Is it a better asset than Bitcoin? And people will flaunt this idea. Well, XRP is going to replace Bitcoin. I don't think it ever is going to get there, but what we do talk about is the production cost for XRP versus the production cost of Bitcoin and which is a more favorable asset to choose. Now, as XRP starts to move in price, many people are now starting to look at this as an alternative way than Bitcoin. And actually, with institutional money about to flow into this market like never before, this could even be an asset that's worth holding alongside Bitcoin, even an ETF, which we know is going to come very, very soon as well. So this is a really important point as you sort of walk through this mechanic and understand exactly that requiring real effort to get XRP to where it is could therefore hold it and significantly push that price further upside. Again, talking to ETFs, we know they're coming down the line, naturally no more than BlackRock. Now, I must caveat the next thing I'm going to talk to you about, which is basically that BlackRock and the rumor mill of them coming into ETFs. Everyone's going to tell you they are. Well, let's say this. They did announce today that according to breaking news, BlackRock announced that it has no plans to apply for an XRP or Solana ETF at this time. Okay, hear me out. I think they're liars. I think they're talking nonsense. And if you think about it, why would BlackRock come out before they file an ETF and say, oh yeah, we're going to file one a week on Tuesday? Everyone knows what's happened. The market will skyrocket. The price of XRP goes up. And therefore, the BlackRock customers, they're then having to buy in at a higher price. Surely it would make sense exactly as what happened with the Bitcoin ETFs and Ethereum ETFs, that they will announce it once they start to acquire it. So the key thing is now is understanding when and what is going to happen, and we'll keep you dialed in on that. We are watching the XRPL. We're watching OTC and volumes on exchanges to know exactly when BlackRock start to seed a potential ETF. We will break that to you. And just to give you an idea of how big this is going to be, by the way, they are all filings for XRP ETF. So yes, maybe BlackRock aren't there yet, but they're going to come. Definitely. You are not telling me that these are all going to get an ETF for XRP, which we all know is going to skyrocket the price. And BlackRock are going to sit on the sidelines and go, well, yeah, we're not really that bothered. Absolutely no chance on this earth. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. We are going to keep you posted on what's going on. I think it's coming pretty soon. I think next week's going to be big for the markets, big for XRP, and we could even see that IPO by the end of the year. As always, let me know what you think in the comments down below. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We break down the markets and we talk about XRP every day, keeping your portfolio ahead of the rest. Till next time, thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.